Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. Do you have that one friend that seems like they can just do it all? Well, my guest today is a talented lady who not only is an award-winning singer, songwriter, recording artist, she's also an author of young adult fiction. If that's not enough, she's also an award-nominated podcast host. Will you please welcome the amazing Demi Michelle. How are you, Demi? How are you, darling?
Hello, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. And what an intro.
Thank you very much. No problem at all. I'm not saying anything that's a lie, am I now? It's all the truth, isn't it? You do it all. And she chops, dices, and slices and makes julienne fries. she does it all. Yeah, Demi, you've achieved such remarkable success in multiple creative levels: songwriting, children's literature, podcasting. How do you balance it and still have the energy to carry on such diverse pursuits?
I think I have always been a very driven person ever since I was young. And so I think whenever I have a passion for something, I always find time for it. And so I truly love everything that I do. So nothing feels like, oh, I gotta do this again. Like, I really enjoy doing everything. So I find space. So it's hard to balance from time to time, but I definitely look to see what my priorities are at the time. So if I'm releasing a music release or an album or single, then that's where my focus mainly is. When I'm like in the process of like recording and writing songs, and I kind of put my focus more on my writing and the podcasting because I don't have to actively promote releases. So I definitely try to be strategic with where I need to place my priorities.
You're doing a great job of it too. Maybe you should need to teach other people on how to do it, because you're so diverse in what you're doing. Let's first address music. What was your why for becoming a singer-songwriter? Everyone's got a why. What was yours?
Yeah, so I was always really into music ever since I was young. I started piano at age 10, and then in middle school I joined choir, and then from that point I ended up studying music and creative writing in college. And it was when I was in college when I discovered my love for songwriting, because I was going through some difficult emotions and experiences around my junior year. And so I decided to start songwriting as a way for me to process things and get things out. And so that's when I started songwriting. And at first I had a lot of confidence issues and I was really insecure about everything. So I didn't really tell anybody I was songwriting for a couple years. And then I started to look into studios, found a producer, and then started releasing music. But I've always been very musical, and it was really interesting too because, like I said, I double majored in music and creative writing, and it was around the time when I added my creative writing major.
She's able to do all these things at once. I majored in this and this and this. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. That is. Continue. I'm sorry I interrupted you there.
Oh, no, you're good. No, I was going to say, it was funny because when I started college, I was just a music major, and then I ended up adding my creative writing major. And it was at that time when I decided, like, I really sat and thought, like, okay, music and creative writing, when you put the music and the storytelling together, that's basically songwriting. And so that's when I really discovered my two passions collided with songwriting. So that's when I started to take it more seriously. So yeah, that's the short version.
Just a natural transition too. And your songwriting has won critical acclaim. Can you tell us your creative process? Do you have a style of doing it? Are you a disciplined writer, or does it just have to hit you? Or what is your songwriting process like?
Yeah, so there definitely have been times where I get really inspired and a song seems to just write itself. But as any creative who wants to make a career out of something, you can't just wait for inspiration to strike. You need to kind of develop a process that allows you to get things done even when you're not super inspired. For me personally, it always starts with a concept or an emotion or a specific experience. I'm very into storytelling and the message behind my songs. And so I found that as long as I have a clear vision for what I want to say, then everything else falls into place because I look at my lyrics and the story. And then from there, I discover like, okay, well, what key fits this song? Is it more of a ballad or is it tempo? And I'm a multi-genre artist too. So does this song suit more for country or pop or something else that's like in the middle or adding an extra genre flavor? So I definitely like to start with the lyrics and the story because it helps me evolve the song from there.
Jeez, even in the songwriting, you're crossing genres, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. The first song we're going to feature is the brand new one. This is from the brand new project that's going on. Kind Heart is the name of. What's the backstory on this new song?
Yeah, this one is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. This was one of those that happened very quickly. And I was experiencing a lot of emotions surrounding being a kind person. I'm always kind and I give without expecting anything back. And I'm always trying to help others and not, look for reciprocation. And because I am always this way, I discovered that there comes times when I feel like my kindness is getting taken advantage of and I feel like I'm getting used. And because I'm a kind person, I don't really like to call people out if I can avoid it. I kind of just take it and move on. And I found that a lot of people who are kind also kind of shut up these emotions. And so it gets to be this point where it's like a battle of like showing on the outside that you're so happy and you're nice all the time, but people don't fully understand how being kind comes with its challenges too. And so I decided to write a song about this one. I played piano on this, and Anna O'Malley played flute. She did incredible, and my producer Bob McCutcheon helped me bring this one to life as well. And so I think this is a really great introduction to my album Hear Me Out, which is coming later in the summer, because I'm definitely exploring things that I haven't before in my music on this album. So this is the first taste of the bold, fearless perspective that I'm bringing to that album.
I get used as well, so this song is going to fit me too. The song is called Kind Heart. It's from today's podcast guest, Demi Michelle, right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
I give without expecting something in return, but a little reciprocation wouldn't hurt. I'm going down roads with dead ends, but I can't help it. Don't want to be selfish, but lately I've noticed being sweet has left me feeling pretty sour. So I won't sugarcoat it no more. If it's true that kindness doesn't cost a thing, then why do I feel like I've spent everything? They say being nice goes a long way, but 1,000 miles wouldn't change how it's kinda hard having a kind heart. When I'm on the fence, I try to do what's right, but being the good one isn't all sunshine and butterflies. I can't deny I face consequences too. Lately I've noticed getting used has left my heart all bruised and broken, but I don't show it. If it's true that kindness doesn't cost a thing, then why do I feel like I've spent everything? They say being nice goes a long way, but 1,000 miles wouldn't change how it's kinda hard having a kind heart. Don't get me wrong, I've got my flaws, but I don't need no wings or a halo, 'cause I do my best and the rest will follow. But it's kinda hard having a kind heart. It's kinda hard having a kind heart.
That's new music from our Someone You Should Know podcast guest, Demi Michelle. It's called Kind Heart. We're going to have more great music from Demi in just a couple of minutes, but first I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast. You can find us on the World Wide Web at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast.com. There, if you go there, you're going to find recent news, our archive of more than 170 episodes, and a whole lot more. If you've been enjoying the podcast, we invite you to leave a review, rate us, let us know how we're doing, okay? That helps us grow, too. Now, according to Buzzsprout, the service that shares us to all the streaming platforms, gosh, I'm so excited about this. We just got the latest stats. We're now in over 2,200 cities and 90 countries around the world. I want to thank you for tuning in. Some new cities include Van Nuys, California, Noblesville, Indiana, Hammond Plains, Nova Scotia, Canada, and Munich, Bavaria, Germany. Wow. Thanks for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast, heard wherever quality streaming audio is available. We're talking with Demi Michelle. We're going to switch gears here and talk about your role as a children's book author. What inspired you to make that venture into children's literature?
Yeah, so when I was in college, like I said, I double majored in music and creative writing. And in one of my classes, my professor actually told me that I should get my master's of fine arts in writing popular fiction. And until she told me that, I had never even thought about getting a master's degree, let alone in English. And I decided to attend a residency on campus because it was at my same university, at Seton Hill University. And so I went to a residency when I was a senior, and I fell in love with the program and the mentors, and it just felt like it was a huge family and community. So I decided to get my master's, and I went straight from my undergrad graduation basically into my master's because I graduated in May 2019, and then I went straight into my master's in June. So I went really quickly into that. And when I was in that program, I really got to work closely with published authors as my mentors. I had a lot of classes on different areas of the craft of writing and worked with many critique partners to better myself as an author. And so as soon as I graduated from that program in June of 2022, I started querying, which basically is pitching agents. So I was doing a lot of research into literary agents and doing the whole pitch thing. And it was really difficult because I got lots of rejections, as you would expect. From June 2022 until October 2023, I queried hundreds of agents. I got over like 100, maybe close to 200 rejections. I pitched 3 different manuscripts, and at the end of October last year, I got my offer of representation by Michelle Jackson at LCS Literary, and in November, I accepted her offer. And so now she's my agent. I write young adult fiction, and like in my music, I am multi-genre in my writing too, because I write young adult fantasy and young adult thriller. And I love doing both for different reasons. And it's just really, really rewarding to finally have an agent representing me. So I'm really excited.
Very good. Very good. Once again, this girl, I mean, she doesn't just get a bachelor's degree. She's got to go get a master's degree. Holy cow. Jeez, where do you have time? When do you have time to do anything that's not creative? Do you ever have a time to relax?
Yeah, I do. And it's funny because people ask me, like, what's your downtime and what's your hobby? And, like, I like to read, and that's, like, connected to being an author. So I feel like listening to music, listening to podcasts, reading books, like, that's what I like to do. And that's also what I do. So I don't have any hobbies, like, outside any of it.
Well, very good. Now, when do you actually have anything in the works to be published?
I do, and this is really exciting. So I got my first short story acceptance in January, and that's going to be coming at some point. I don't have all the details from the publisher yet, but it was a wild experience because I saw an open call for this short story submission through Wilding Publishing, and it was a middle grade submission, and I don't write middle grade, I write young adult, but I obviously read a lot of middle grade growing up, and I have a really big appreciation for those authors. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And I submitted the short story, and I got the acceptance a couple weeks later. And so that will be in an anthology called Cleo's Curious Dash Through Time. And my story is called The Scribe from the Lost City. And it's basically an origin story for how the Atlantis myth came to be, the sunken city. So I'm really, really excited because that's going to be my first publication, and then I'm hoping to get a publishing deal soon with my manuscript when my agent and I go out on submission to editors. So I'm really excited.
Very good. Now, you were talking about the number of rejections you had. Don't forget Theodore Geisel, how many times that he got rejections before he wound up getting some love, and then he became Dr. Seuss. It was just
So many. So many.
That's just it as far as that goes. And how about the Beatles too? Didn't they get rejected a couple times? I think so.
Yeah, everybody does. It's like part of the process. And I think that's the thing that one of the biggest things in any creative space is perseverance because you're going to get rejected. And I think for me personally, like I think all the rejections and pushing through that when I finally got my yes, it was so rewarding versus if I would have got my yes right away, it wouldn't have been as rewarding, I don't think, because you see authors struggling for years and then they finally get it. And then you see the ones that get it quick and which is like super lucky and congratulations because that wasn't me. But at the same time, it really teaches you how rejection is always a part of the business, and the sooner you learn that, the better. And I definitely learned that early on.
I worry though about children sometimes because we're not keeping score. No one wins, no one loses.
Yeah,
it's like those kids are going to be coming expecting. Well, I submitted this. Why? You should accept it. Oh, well, it's just the way we raise kids and got a little bit differently, not the way I was raised or whatever like that. Let's get back to music here. Another song we're going to feature is called I Hope You Know You're Lucky. And I hope a lot of people know they're lucky because a lot of people just take things for granted. What's the backstory on this great song?
Yeah, so this one I wrote in 2020, and it was on my EP, It Is What It Is, that came out in 2022. And this song is written as if I'm writing a letter to another girl who ended up with a guy who I had feelings for. And I'm basically telling this girl that you have everything I wish I had, and so I hope you know you're lucky. So that's this one.
All right, very good. Great song right now. I Hope You Know You're Lucky from Demi Michelle right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
Does he tell you that you're beautiful and that you're his whole entire world? Those are words I wish he said to me, but to him I'm only a distant memory. You don't know who I am. That's okay. But I gotta say, when he surprises you with roses, I hope you know you're lucky. When he stops your tears from flowing, I hope you know you're lucky. Sometimes you don't notice you've got something golden till it's gone. So when he looks into your eyes and says he loves you, I hope you know you're lucky. To the girl he'd cross the ocean for, judge you safe forever and always, and promise you he's there to stay. Those are words I wish he said to me, but to him I'm nothing more than history. You don't know who I am. That's okay, but I gotta say, surprises you with roses, I hope you know you're lucky. When he stops your tears from flowing, I hope you know you're lucky. Sometimes you don't notice you've got something golden till it's gone. So when he looks into your eyes and says he loves you, you're lucky, so lucky, oh. Don't take a single moment for granted. You got it all, so don't forget it. 'Cause I'm in the dark, waiting for the sun to rise on the day I finally find the one. And if he surprises me with roses, I will know I'm lucky. If he stops my tears from flowing, I will know I'm lucky. Believe me, I will notice I've got something golden and hold on. And if he looks into my eyes and says he loves me, I will know I'm lucky. So lucky. But until that day comes, you've got everything I want. So I hope you know you're lucky.
I hope you know you're lucky from Demi Michelle. Another facet in Demi's diamond of talent is that she is a podcaster as well. Can you give us your elevator pitch about Right on Track podcast?
Yeah, so Right on Track Podcast is a show that releases on all platforms every other Sunday, where I spotlight topic-based, authentic conversations with people from all areas of the music industry, whether they're just starting out, just established, or have been established for a really long time, no matter if they're songwriters or artists or on the business side. And my whole inspiration for starting the show was back in 2019 when I started my own songwriting journey, and I was reaching out to platforms to be on. When I was just starting, there were several platforms that had certain boxes that they wanted me to check, like I had to have a certain number of releases, or I had to be a certain genre, or certain this or certain that, and I started to feel like I wasn't welcome. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like that. I think no matter who you are, no matter how long you've been doing this or in what area of the business you're in, everybody has a story to tell, and everybody should be able to share their story. And so I created that inclusive platform for anyone in music who wanted to have a conversation with me, and it's been wonderful. It's been getting some great recognition too. In 2023, last year, it received Media Company of the Year nomination for the Josie Music Awards. And this year it is nominated for an International Singer-Songwriters Association Award. So it's been like crazy, because when I started the show, I had no clue it would snowball like this. And real quick too, I just started another podcast called Literary Blend, and it's for the publishing industry. So it's the exact same thing. I'm talking to anyone in publishing, authors, agents, editors, for an authentic topic-based chat. So Right on Track, spelled WRITE, on Track, a songwriting podcast is the music one, and Literary Blend, a publishing podcast, is the publishing one.
I have a feeling that she was a twin that ended up in one body, because she works on both sides of the brain or working at the same time. Holy cow, girl, not one podcast, but two. Enjoy
People actually told
enjoy
me,
while
like, you should do that.
Enjoy while you're young. When you get in your 60s like me, you can only do one. Jeez, your creativity seems boundless. Let's talk about projects you've got going on for late spring and the summer of 2024. What should we know?
Yeah, so the album is in the midst of all the singles. So Kind Heart was the lead single that came out on Leap Day. I thought it'd be fun to leap into my new chapter by releasing on Leap Day. So that's how that happened. And then my second single, Passive Aggressive, is out in May. This song is probably one of my all-time favorite songs I've done. It's like edgy pop rock, which is something I've never done before. I personally do not like people who are passive aggressive, and I think that it's like one of the things that really gets under my skin. Not many things do, but if somebody's passive aggressive to me, it like really gets under my skin. And so I wrote this song about that. And then in either late June, early July, I'm releasing another single called I'm Introverted, So What? And it's a really sassy, up-tempo, contemporary pop song, basically an empowerment anthem for people who are introverts like me. I know I don't seem like I'm introverted, but I really am. And so that's that one. And then later in the summer, I'm shooting for late August, early September. Hear Me Out is my whole album, and that will be coming out. Then it has 8 songs on it, and I'm really, really excited for everyone to hear those. And then I also make it a tradition to release an original Christmas single every year. And this year I'm going to have 2, and so those will be coming out in November, obviously, like right in time for the holidays.
2 is the magic number for you. You don't do just one, you gotta do 2. It just floors me. You just floor me. You're just so entertaining. You're so bubbly and everything like that. And you saying you're an introvert, no, you're a type A personality. Holy cow. Wow, wow, just amazing, absolutely amazing. I love talking to individuals like you because, a lot of times I'll ask a question and then I have to kind of pull the answer out of the individual.
Oh, yeah, I've done that before.
Gosh, you are just really on the ball. I think a lot of it stems from the fact that you're also a fellow podcaster. So I think
so.
I think that might be it. You're very good on the microphone. You're very talented in what you say. You're really thoughtful in what you say. It's just very, very smart. Can you tell us what's the story behind the butterflies?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. So I love butterflies. I always have. And I released a song in 2021 called Will I Ever, which was the lead single off my debut album, Dear Diary. And there's a lyric in there that says, I fall for dreams, trust butterflies, keep counting my clouds, but they don't add to 9. And when I wrote that was like one of my favorite lyrics. And it was crazy because when I was doing a photo shoot for the album, where my university is in downtown Greensburg, there's a butterfly wall. And my photographer had me take a picture in front of the butterfly wall. And so that became the artwork for the single. And then one of my supporters called me like Queen Butterfly or Miss Butterfly or something like that. And then someone else was like, oh, you should call your supporters butterflies. And so now like butterflies are like a huge part of my brand. I try to incorporate them in as much as possible. And also when I attended the ISSA Awards last year, I went to the store and I was looking at dresses, and if I would have went looking for a butterfly dress, I would not have found one, but there was literally a black dress with a bunch of different color butterflies on it. And I was like, oh my God, that is my dress. And I ended up winning an award at that show. And so I got to accept my first music award in a butterfly dress. And so like butterflies are like just really, really special to me at this point. And my background has butterflies and there's butterflies all over my room. So yeah, they're a big part of my brand and my personality.
Very good. So people or of the followers of Demi Michelle would be called butterflies, right?
Butterflies, right, yeah.
Not Swifties, but butterflies. There you go. Awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
This next feature is my personal favorite. It's called Tales from the Road. These are those infamous road stories where things didn't go quite as planned. I think you said before we started this whole thing, you've got a good one for that. So
I do.
There might be probably, in your case, there might be 2. So go ahead.
No, there's one. So I don't perform live a whole lot. I prefer the songwriting and the recording, but I do play live from time to time, and I have quite the story. So a couple years ago, I was in Kirksville, Missouri, and it's a very, very small town. Like, you can't even see it on the map. It's extremely small. My sister is currently there. She's a dermatologist, and she's currently at a practice out there. And so every time I go somewhere, I try to perform if I can. So my family and I took a trip out there to visit her. And I brought my guitar. I had like all my my amplifiers, my speakers, and everything. I was all ready to go set up. Okay, so I was performing at an event called Summer on the Square, which basically they have during the summer every Friday night. They have artists perform basically in their downtown, and it's like a whole thing. So I was performing the one night, and there were a ton of people there, and I was setting up. I set my guitar on the guitar stand, and my dad was like getting some of the speakers. I was helping my mom set something up, and then there was like this huge bang sound. Okay, and I'm like, what the heck was that? My guitar, something happened with the stand, and it like semi broke and the guitar fell off, and I was like, oh my God, like, did I just break it? Because I didn't have more than one, because I don't perform a lot. I have 3 guitars at my house, but I didn't take more than one with me. So I started massively panicking, picked up the guitar was fine, but one of the strings broke. And I also had no strings because I don't know how to restring a guitar. So I'm like, oh my God. And I'm supposed to like perform in like 5 minutes. And like, I'm super emotional, so I'm trying not to cry, I'm like, oh my God. And like, I was like talking to the one who was organizing, and I'm like, oh my God, like this like never happened before. I'm like, you cannot play with a broken string. It just messes up the tuning of like the other string. It's a whole thing. And I was like, and plus Kirksville, it's such a small town, like there's nowhere to go get a guitar, get strings. Like, even if I could, I don't know how to restring it. These people in this town are so nice. Like, there were people on the phone, like calling to see if they like knew anybody who like had a guitor or had strings or whatever. But here's me, like I start playing with 5 strings and I'm trying not to like strum that hard because it started to sound really bad. And I was starting to think like I should just play it like a cappella, just sing a cappella, you know what I mean? And literally, I think I was like 3 or 4 songs in, 2 people show up at the exact same time, a girl with a guitar and a guy with strings, and he completely restrung my guitar, and I was all set. And I was like telling them both, like I was ready to use the girl's guitar, and then 2 seconds later this guy shows up and like restrings my guitar. The nicest people, they saved my butt, and it turned out to be a really good night, but that was a disaster.
You know the thing. You know why that happened? Why the people showed up is because you're a kind individual. Okay, you paid it forward. And they were there to help you when you needed someone too. So there you go.
Yeah.
See, that's all what it's all about. What comes around goes around type thing.
Right.
That's a good story. I had a similar story where a girl was playing in Tallahassee, and her father dropped the guitar, and the guitar has a crack in the back of it now.
Oh God.
Which it just aesthetically it doesn't look right, but it doesn't change anything. But the thing is, every time she looks at that crack, she thinks of her father. And it just reminds her of the times that she was part of her father's barbecue competition. She would perform while her father was competing in barbecue competitions and such. And it just kind of reminded me of that. Yep, that's a very good story. Thanks, Demi. I do appreciate that, hon. Now, if people are definitely going to want to follow you and want to know exactly where you're going to be, when you're going to be, when you're going to be releasing new stuff, when you're going to wind up winning the Grammys, when you're going to wind up winning the Pulitzer, all that good stuff there. So do me a favor, give us some of your social media, how people can reach out to you.
Yeah, okay. So my website, I have a couple of domains. If you want to go straight to my website, you can do demimichellemusic.com or demimschwartz.com, which is DEMIMSCHWARTZ.com. That's my main domain, but I have the music one too. On social, I am on Twitter and Instagram mostly. My handle also is at Demi Schwartz, but if you search Demi Michelle, you will see me because my display name has the butterfly emoji in it, and I'm super active, especially on Twitter. And then on my website too, I have a ton of pages. My bio is on there. I also have a blog on there where I keep everyone up to date, my music, both podcast links are on there. I'm also a freelance editor. I just started my editorial services called Amethyst Ink Editorial, where I edit fiction manuscripts. And so that's on there too. So there's like a ton of stuff. My website is super dynamic and complex. So if you want to learn anything about me possible, you can do it there.
Super dynamic and complex. Now, you would expect something maybe simple from this girl. No. It's got to be. You're something else. You are absolutely something else. Final song we're going to feature is Halfway Out of This Town, which was part of your award-winning EP. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Tell listeners a little bit about this particular track, okay?
Yeah, this one is one of my favorites. I wrote it because I was in a relationship/friendship that I was giving and giving and giving, and I was just being treated terribly. And I'm the kind of person who keeps giving people multiple chances. Like, I don't like to cut people out, and I can think things get better. People have the potential to get better, and some people do, but some people don't. And it was a situation where I was in this friendship and I started to realize that I was changing in a way that I didn't like. It was really affecting me, and so I had to make the decision to just move on. And the song is full of metaphors, basically using a town as a metaphor for the friendship, basically saying now that I'm halfway out and I'm finally moving on, I'm not coming back again. And a lot of people have connected to this one because I wrote it in a way where it can be interpreted as if you're looking at it as a friendship or a romantic relationship, any kind of relationship really, and just trying to empower people to that it's okay to move on and leave someone behind, even though it's difficult, because if it starts affecting your mental health and you're changing in a way that isn't you, I think it's really important to take care of yourself too and set boundaries. And so that's Halfway Out of This Town.
Very good. Great stuff right there. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast today, Demi. You did a great job. And geez, I wish I could have you on another podcast show, but I only have one. So thanks for taking the time to be with us and sharing your music and your stories.
Absolutely. Thank you.
When the moonlight shines with me, then press delete. When you're driving down a country road and my favorite song comes on the radio, do you sing along or turn it off? You had your chance to embrace me, I had enough, can you blame me? But I know it won't be easy to escape me. Did you really think I'd hang around all the rocky roads I can live without? You broke my trust, confirmed my doubts, so I'm not coming back for another round. I'm halfway out of this town. When you're lost in a crowd on Friday night and you hear a voice as sweet as mine, do you turn around or tune it out? Oh yeah, when a butterfly spreads its wings and you skip a beat cause you think of me, do you watch it fly or close your eyes? And if you ask me, I'm doing fine. But did you really think I'd hang around all the rocky roads I can live without? You broke my trust, confirmed my doubts, so I'm not coming back for another round. I'm halfway out of this town. I'm halfway out of this town. Won't lose my direction now. I bet since I walked out the door, you're living with deja vu. Yeah. Now watch me take the high road to freedom, cause I'm feeling brand new. Did you really think I'd hang around all the rocky roads I can live without? You broke my trust, confirmed my doubts, so I'm not coming back for another round. It is what it is, get over me somehow. Cause I'm halfway out of this town. I'm not turning around. I'm so much better now. Cause I'm halfway out of this town. I'm not turning around. It won't be long now till I'm all the way out of this town.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.